Shark finning.
Shark finning.
Shark finning.
Shark finning.
Shark finning.
Shark finning. The definition of it is basically when people cut, like chop off sharks' fins and then throw them back into the hole. And sometimes they're even alive when they do that. That's so cruel. And for obvious reasons, because like sharks need their fins to swim and they cannot move and they cannot protect themselves for whatever's coming. They cannot swim away and they'll die. So yeah, it happens when, because like the shark fins, like they're very like valuable, like they cost a lot of money, and in like cultures, I think it was Vietnamese or Chinese, basically it's like super popular like in their culture and stuff, and like they use it for like soap. But this became like a major environmental concern in like the late 20th century, like so from 1980s to 1990s, and scientists and conservation groups started noticing the shark populations were declining quickly until they started finding out where that people like were doing this for money and for soup. Millions of sharks began to be killed every year. So some of the characteristics is like basically sharks are caught specifically for their fins, like that's why it's called shark finning, but like specifically for their fins. And yeah, fishers cut off like I said, fishers cut off their fins and discard the body at sea. It happens in many oceans around the world, not just the Pacific Ocean, not just the Atlantic one. It happens on a lot, like all over the world. It's often linked to international fishing trade, so like they cross countries and you know they get traded off for more money. Shark finning is so important because sharks play a key role in our ocean ecosystem. Sharks are top predators, one of the top predators. So meaning they like help keep marine populations balanced. When shark populations drop, it can disrupt the entire food chain and affect other marine species. Today, many countries have created laws banning shark finning or requiring sharks to be brought to shore with fins attached. So, however, the practice still occurs in some parts of the world, especially in international waters.
Let's talk about that.
During the Ming Dynasty in 1368, in China, shark fins became a delicacy to Chinese cuisine, particularly for shark fin soup. And this dish was often prepared for celebratory occasions such as weddings and whatnot. Eventually, Chinese culture also started to change, and China started to acquire an interest of gathering and acquiring rare and exotic goods and displaying them. And part of that was eating predators, which was seen as a form of bragging rights. Now, particularly for shark fins, eating them was associated with high status, power, wealth, and even had rumors of skin rejuvenation. And unfortunately for shark fin soup only getting more popular and the status behind the dish being associated with power has only made it worse for sharks. The demand for shark fin soup has shark fins in general has been very popular in places such as Taiwan, Indonesia, Vietnam, and especially Hong Kong, taking up to 50% of the share for shark fins and being responsible for the global market behind shark fins, the largest global market behind shark fins for at least the last 50 years.
It's time for
Shark finning is a serious environmental issue, but scientists and organizations are working to stop it. One major solution is creating laws that ban shark finning. Many countries have passed regulations that make it illegal to remove shark fins and throw the shark back into the ocean. Instead, fishermen just bring the whole shark to shore, which reduces waste and discourages the practice. Scientists are also studying shark populations to understand how many sharks are left and which species are most at risk. By tracking sharks and monitoring ocean ecosystems, researchers can create better conservation plans and protect important habitats where sharks live and reproduce. Another important step is public awareness. Environmental organizations like Shark Trust and World Wildlife Fund educate people about the harm caused by shark finning and encourage countries to ban the shark fin trade. These combined efforts, stronger laws, scientific research, and education help restore shark populations and protect the ocean ecosystem, since sharks play a crucial role in keeping marine life balanced.
The finning and overfishing of sharks is a long-researched issue that marine biologists and conservationists alike are aware of. In one case, researchers Stevens, Delvey, Bonfil, and Walker sought to review how the fishing of chondrichthyans, specifically sharks, produced effects on overall population levels as well as the larger impacts on marine ecosystems as a whole. In the year 2000, these four researchers published a paper, The Effects of Fishing on Sharks, Rays, and Chimeras, Chondrichthyans, and the Implications for Marine Ecosystems, under the ICES Journal of Marine Science. These researchers targeted four main issues in this project, primarily using methods of literary review and observation, with the exception of the final issue discussed. From their analysis of fishing records, these researchers were able to discover that there is a severe underreporting of total catch. Specifically, the landings reported were approximately 76,000 tons, but researchers estimated that the actual total catch was closer to 1.5 million, which severely underrepresents the amount taken as bycatch. Pause. Why does this matter? They're accurately reporting how much fish they took, right? Wrong. Bycatch, or the non-landings, primarily include fish that were killed during the process of fishing or transportation, and is entirely left out of what is actually used, despite there still being fish killed or that do not return back into the ecosystem, meaning that the amount of fish that are removed is entirely unregulated. It's reported and estimated that 50% of global fishing is bycatch, meaning that something that is entirely unmanaged is left out of official statistics, preventing actual regulation of these issues. From case selection and rebound potential rankings, it was determined by the researchers that a species' productivity was most affected by its age of maturation rather than its total lifespan. Additionally, small, early maturing species like smoothhounds showed to have the greatest recovery potential, while slow-growing coastal species like bull sharks actually had the lowest recovery potential, meaning that they would be most impacted by a large depletion of population. Finally, the researchers determined that endemic species were identified as being at the highest risk of total extinction due to overfishing and finning practices. What was found that is the larger apex predators, like sharks, are removed, smaller predators tended to increase in abundance due to less competition and predation. This is a phenomenon known as top-down control or trophic cascade, which in turn can tend to affect the intermediate consumers and vegetation. For example, it was reported that in the Irish Sea, intensive bottom trawling led to the near total disappearance of the very common skate, a type of ray. It is an extremely dramatic impact considering that it was one of Britain's largest fish species. The methods used to dive into this issue are special in the fact that the researchers used a program called EcoSim, which is a dynamic and simulation program designed to project ecosystem impacts over about a century, and you can choose multiple ecosystems to see the range and effect for the removals of certain species. In this experiment specifically, the usage of a Venezuelan tropical shelf, Hawaiian coral reef, and a northern Pacific Ocean gyre were used as in the environmental models. It was observed that trophic cascades were triggered by the removal of sharks. It was specifically the most dramatic in the Venezuelan model, as the removal of sharks severely increased prey populations, thus resulting in an overconsumption of zooplankton, which destabilized almost the entire food base of that ecosystem. Additionally, because chondrichthyes have such low reproductive rates, the model suggested that even if fishing came back to an entire stop, the recovery to the original ecosystem could take decades or might not even happen at all.
Hey, my name is Elisa.
Arturo.
Athena Nunez.
Just take it away. Take it away completely. All parts of the countries, everywhere in the world, make it illegal. Take it away completely. It is harmful to the sharks, and it's just very cruel.
No, I wouldn't assume so, because what they do is just chop off fins of the sharks and then throw their like carcasses back while they're still alive, so they just kind of float there dying. I don't know how you could make that more humane.
There's ways you can make it less cruel, because I know they be killing them and stuff, and it's like, why are you doing that? Just for money, just to eat, when there's fishes, other fishes that you could eat?
Yeah.
That could be less cruel, where you don't have to chop off the fin.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most people need it to benefit them. And they make it complicated because I feel like they need money out of that.
Yeah.
I know that shark fin soup is a like cultural thing. I forgot like what culture it was for, but a lot of people just like it and kind of have like a connection to the soup, and I think people don't want to get rid of, I don't know, like their traditions because of laws, which like I could see what they're coming, like where they're coming from, but it's also like they're destroying populations of sharks and also taking out a keystone organism.
Well, I think sharks hold a high importance in the marine life and in the waters and in the sea. They keep the ecosystem in balance. You know, as much as they're scary to look at, they can be very scary creatures, but they are very important in the waters.
Because they're a keystone organism and they're like a apex predator most of the time, or if not, they're a scavenger. So if you kill them, and they're not even like killing them, they're chopping off their fins and leaving them to get eaten by whatever it comes by, or just rot. So they kind of just leave them to not do anything.
I just think, you know, like, if it's a cruel thing, like I said, but it affects the ecosystem, I think, because of, like I said, not keeping it in balance. You know, we want the ecosystem to work, to progress, and to maintain it and balance it as well.
So it's important for an ecosystem to have balance, is what you're saying.
Yes.
And shark finning is throwing that balance off.
It's disrupting it, yes.
Okay.
Because we need our sharks. We need our sharks to stay alive. We need our sharks to be healthy. We need our sharks to have their fins. We need our sharks. Who doesn't need the sharks? Not do it for money? Because I guess like sharks are very expensive, right? And they do it in like different countries. They do it in other countries, and like a lot of not sales, but like a lot of people that like fish for that because it's a part of their job, right? I feel like that shouldn't be a part of a job.
Have the water police, coastal guards, anyone who works on top of the waters to, you know, help minimize or help just prevent shark finning, and to just investigate it more, just to prevent it altogether.
That's difficult because it's hard to police international waters since there is no like nation to police it, and making like the issue more known to people. I know we can't control other countries and what they like allow their fishermen or like just people in general to go out and do, but it would help to like speak with other countries and be like, hey, this is gonna destroy waters like all around us, and then in turn it makes fish populations grow. Certain ones grow to like extreme rates where it makes waters like bad. because people don't want to stop doing what they've like done for like millennia. Like, it changed because like the Industrial Revolution, where like people were able to actually, you know, fish like to mass amounts. So they also, I don't know, people just don't want to stop with what they're doing. And also I think it makes them a good enough money from just taking fins off of sharks where they don't care, and the people that do care aren't given enough power to do anything about it, since that there's no like revenue that you could make from protecting sharks.
It goes back to money and hunger of the people. I don't know why people eat sharks, first of all.
Yeah.
Or what they gain out of eating sharks.
Yeah.
Well, from what I've heard that it's used in foods as well. It's used in foods, and I've heard also that it holds bacteria inside the fins, which is not good for us to eat. And also it holds a high value in the trade market, which can also be very, very expensive.
Okay.
And used to trade and all that stuff.
My final thoughts on shark finning are that it's very serious. It's a very serious issue, and it affects the ocean and many shark species, not just one, but from hammerhead to tiger to great white to, yeah, so many. I think this topic is important because sharks play a big role in keeping our marine ecosystem balanced. When sharks population decline, it can affect other animals in the ocean and change the whole food chain. This topic is important to me personally because I care about the animals, and I care about the sharks, and I care about the environment. And learning about shark finning made me realize how human actions can have a huge impact on nature. It also made me think about how important it is to protect species before they disappear. But yeah, and I think it's important for others to learn about shark finning because many people do not realize how harmful this practice is to us and to them, and how many sharks are affected each year. Millions and thousands and hundreds of sharks are affected each year. By learning more about it, people may become more aware and support efforts to protect sharks and the ocean and our world, because we wouldn't be nothing without sharks and the cycle of life.
My first introduction to this topic was in high school, actually. I had read a comic called One Last Ride by Jenny Jinya, who I'm actually a huge fan of because she takes these environmental and human rights and animal rights issues, and she, specifically with her animal rights, she will take the animals and personify them to further make it easier for some people to empathize, but also just in general spread awareness to issues like shark finning. And I'm really grateful for this project because of that. I was able to take something that I loosely knew about and understood morally it's wrong. I was able to take that and apply it to an ecosystem and really understand on a step-by-step almost level why it breaks down ecosystems and the details of that. So it's just very eye-opening to see how important sharks are to an ecosystem, even being able to consider them a keystone species, especially when you kind of go back to the impact of the reputation they've been given from something like horror movies and just the general fear that's instilled around sharks compared to how important they are.
Now, my opinion on shark finning is, of course, that it is wrong. Often when the shark fin is caught, they leave the shark behind to die. I'm not cool with that. I think that's just morally wrong. One other thing is, I hear from people who have tried it, is that it does not even taste good. So why waste your time on this morally wrong dish, doing this, caught in this morally wrong fashion, for something that doesn't even taste good? Not only does it not taste good, but it is also associated with BMAA, and that's a very complicated abbreviation of what it stands for. But what I can tell you is that it is linked to Alzheimer's and even Parkinson's.
Shark finning is an important issue because it harms marine ecosystems and causes unnecessary suffering to sharks. Learning about this topic makes me realize how serious the problem is and how many sharks are killed each year just for their fins. Sharks play a huge role in keeping their ocean balanced, so when their population decline, it affects many other species. This topic impacted me by making me more aware of how human actions can damage the environment. I think it's important for others to learn about shark finning so they understand the consequences and support efforts to protect sharks and the ocean. The more people who are informed, the better chances we have of reducing shark finning and protecting marine life.
It is currently 12:22 in the morning, and I just realized that we don't have an outro for this video. So, introduce yourself.